Good morning, students, and welcome to the class of English. Children, in this video lecture, I am going to teach you the chapter Two Stories About Flying. So, children, in this chapter, we will study about two stories. So, let's begin with the first story. So, the first story is named as His First Flight by Liam O'Flaherty. So, let's begin. Children, every first step in life needs courage and self confidence. As you can see, this small baby trying to walk. So, to cover a distance of 100 miles, we have to take a first step, and that decides how confidently we will walk and then run. The theme of the story, His First Flight, is having courage and self confidence. The story is about a seagull who is on its stage of learning how to fly. It also deals with the theme of how to overcome fears and move forward. Children, the lesson First Flight by Liam O'Flaherty revolves around the theme of parenting. Means how the parents teach their young ones. The main characters of the story, a young seagull and his family. So this chapter focuses on the young seagull's fear, hunger, and mother seagull training the seagull about how to fly. So the young seagull was alone on his ledge, and unlike his brother and sister, he was afraid to fly. He failed to muster up courage to fly. His parents had come around, calling to him, shrilly, scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge. He had no food. The young seagull could not find anything but the dried pieces of eggshell to eat. His parents wanted to teach him fly. So the mother seagull played a trick. She sewed a piece of fish to the hungry young seagull, but he couldn't reach the food as it was out of his reach. Maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish in order to grab it. Now he started falling down. First, he fell afraid, but then he had no other choice other than to flap his wings and fly towards his meal. So he did that, and he landed on the green sea and sank into it. But really, he was floating on the water. The young bird's family was very happy, and they offered him scraps of dogfish for his first flight. Thus, the parental care, and the instinct to fly and urge for survival prompted the young seagull to fly finally. In this story, the young seagull was afraid to fly as he lacked confidence. He was fearful of the vast expanse of sea beneath him. In fact, he was not trying. His parents, brothers, and sisters tried their level best to encourage and boost his morale. But only his mother felt pity on him. But she taught him a lesson in the process of giving food. She tempted him to dive on the food and fly. As the seagull is extremely hungry, he dives at the fish deliberately, dropped by his mother. He is fear stricken for a while, but then he finds his wings spread outwards, helping him to soar up high in the sky. His mother, father, brothers, and sister all join him. He watches them making many movements in the air and explores, flight like flying, straight out over the ocean. He sees green vast sea, SEA, beneath, with little ridges moving over it. So children, it was about the first story about flying. Now move on to the next story, that is the black aeroplane. And this story is also about flying. So children, this story is by Frederick Forsyth, who was born on 25 August 1938 in an English family. So he is an author and occasional political commentator. He is best known for thrillers such as The Day of the Jackal, The Odisha File, The Fourth Protocol, The Dogs of War, The Fist of God, The Veteran, Avenger, The Afghan, and The Cobra. So children, since the earliest times, human beings have dreamt of conquering the skies. As you saw the birds flying in the sky, so human being wanted to fly like a bird. So here's a story about flying. A pilot lost in storm clouds. Does he arrive safe? Who helps him? Let's read the story. The sky was clear when the author was flying his old Dakota aeroplane over France to England. The pilot was happy as he was dreaming of his holiday and looking forward to being with his family, and he thought that he would have a nice English breakfast with his family. Everything was going well and it was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind him because he had traveled 150 kilometers from Paris. Suddenly, he saw huge black mountain storm clouds in front of him across the sky. So, children, the storm clouds were so huge that the narrator compares them to Black Mountain. Everything was suddenly black, and the author could not see anything outside the aeroplane. The Dakota is an oral aeroplane, so it jumped and twisted in the air. All the instruments like compass and radio suddenly stopped working. The author was now indecisive. But suddenly, in the black clouds near him, he saw another black aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but he could see it flying next to him through the storm. The black aeroplane slowly turned towards the north in front of author's Dakota so that it would be easier for the author to follow him. The pilot of the black aeroplane waved at the pilot of Dakota and asked him to follow him. And after some time, the author saw the runway, lights, and he landed safely. But when he looked around, he could not find the black aeroplane. He went straight to the control room and asked the lady sitting over there about the black aeroplane. She looked at the author very strangely and then laughed. She said, "Another aeroplane? Up there in this storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight, sir. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar." So, children, who helped the author to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in his tanks? Because the last fuel tank was also going to be empty when the author entered the storm. Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? These questions remain unanswered. So the black aeroplane is definitely a mystery story, children. When the pilot is flying towards his home in Dakota, suddenly he is surrounded by a storm as his plane moved inside the dark clouds. His compass stopped working and he was not able to see anything. Even his radio was not working and he was not able to contact ground control. Then, suddenly, he saw another plane flying next to him and the pilot gesturing him to follow. The pilot of Dakota gladly followed and soon was guided to safety. But as mysteriously as it had arrived, the black aeroplane disappeared. And the pilot was not able to locate it, and it remained a mystery. So, children, these were two stories about flying. Hope you have got the idea about this chapter. So, that's all for today. Thank you.